Hello, my dear friends. Welcome back to our YouTube channel. Today, we're gonna discuss about object-oriented programming concept in Java. I hope you will definitely enjoy this video. So, without any further delay, let's get started. Now, let's discuss about the object-oriented programming concept in Java. So, object-oriented programming is a methodology or paradigm to design a program using classes and objects. So the object-oriented programming concepts are given below. These are object, class, inheritance, polymorphism, abstraction, and the last one is encapsulation. Here is the diagram of object-oriented programming concepts in Java. Please note this diagram. This is very important diagram. Let's discuss the first thing is object. Object is a physical as well as logical entity which have attributes, that means data members, and behavior, that means member function. Next one we have class. Class is a blueprint which is containing only list of variables and method and no memory is allocated for them. A class is a group of objects that has common properties. Next one is encapsulation. Encapsulation is a process of wrapping of data and method in a single unit is called encapsulation. Encapsulation is achieved in C++ language by class concept. The main advantage of using of encapsulation is to secure the data from other methods. When we make a data private, then these data only used within the class, but these data not accessible outside the class. Next one is abstraction. Abstraction is the concept of exposing only the required or essential characteristics and behavior with respect to a context. Hiding of data is known as data abstraction. In object-oriented programming language, this is implemented automatically while writing the code in the form of a class and object. Next one is inheritance. The process of obtaining the data members and method from one class to another class is known as inheritance. It is one of the fundamental features of object-oriented programming. Its main advantage is that it helps in reusability of the code. And the last one we are going to discuss is polymorphism. The process of representing one form in multiple forms is known as polymorphism. Here, one form represents original form or original method always reside in the base class and multiple form represent overridden method which reside in derived class. Now let's discuss the features of OOPS language. These are given below. Better memory management, suitable for large projects, fairly efficient language. It implements real-life scenario. It is easy to maintain and modify existing code. Implementation detail and are hidden from other modules. Now the very important question. That is, what are the four pillars of OOPS? So these are the four pillars of OOPS as you see in the diagram. These are abstraction, inheritance, encapsulation, and polymorphism are the four pillars of OOPS. Please note this diagram. This is very helpful for you. Now let's discuss the inheritance in Java. The process of obtaining the data members and method from one class to another class is known as inheritance. It is one of the fundamental features of object-oriented programming. Its main objective is to reusability of the code. Important points about inheritance. In the inheritance, the class which is given data members and method in is known as base or super or parent class. The class which is taking the data member and method is known as sub or derived or child class. The data member and method of a class are known as features. The concept of inheritance is also known as reusability or extensible class or subclassing or derivation. So the question arises why you use inheritance. So these are the reasons why we use inheritance. So let's discuss them. For a method overriding used for a runtime polymorphism, its main use are to enable polymorphism and to be able to reuse code for different classes by putting it in a common superclass. And the last one is for code reusability also. So this is the syntax of inheritance. Here we have class subclass that extends the superclass, and after that there is a method and the fields. Please note this syntax, it is very important syntax. So let's discuss some real life example of inheritance in Java. The real life example of inheritance is a child and parent. All the properties of father are inherited by his son. As you see in this diagram, there is a loin which is father. That means he says that son I am base class, and his child, uh, there is a child of loin, and he says papa I am derived class. So the child inherits the properties of the loin, and it also have its own properties. So this is the real life example of inheritance. The following diagram uses view about inheritance. Here we have, in the above diagram, data members and method are represented in broken lines. As you see, are inherited from faculty class and they are visible in student class logically. So take a look in this diagram as I explained that. So let's discuss the advantage of inheritance. So these are the advantages that are given below. If we develop any application using concept of inheritance, then that application has following advantages. Application development time is less. Application take less memory. Application execution time is less. Application performance is enhanced or improved. Redundancy or repetition of the code is reduced or minimized so that we get consistent rules, results, and less storage cost. Please keep note, this is in inheritance the scope of SS modifier increasing is allowed but decreasing is not allowed. Suppose in parent class method SS modifier is default, then it's present in the child class with default or public or protected SS modifier but not private, it decreases scope. Please note this. So let's discuss the types of inheritance. Based on number of ways inheriting the features of base class into derived class, we have 5 types of inheritance. They are single inheritance, multiple inheritance, hierarchical inheritance, multi-level inheritance, and the hybrid inheritance. So let's discuss the single inheritance. In single inheritance, there exists a single base class and a single derived class. So in this example of single inheritance, we have the base class as faculty, which has the value floor salary equals to 30,000, and we have the derived class is a science that extends the base class, that is a faculty, and it's have its own method, and it's have a main method also. After that it creates the object of a science class, and then it prints the value of salary plus bonus, salary and bonus. So the salary is 30,000 and the bonus is 2,000. So this is the single inheritance example. Please note this example. So this is the single inheritance diagram. Here we have class A and class B. Class A is base class and class B is derived class, and class B extends the base class. Multi-level inheritance. When a class extends a class which extends another class, then this is called multi-level inheritance. For example, class C extend class B and class B extend class A. Then this type of inheritance is known as multi-level inheritance. As you see in this diagram, class C extend class B, but class B extend class A. So this is multi-level inheritance. It is pretty clear with the design that in a multi-level inheritance, there is a concept of a grandparent class. If we take the example of this diagram that we shown in the previous slide, then class C inherits class B and class B inherited class A, which means B is a parent class of C and A is a parent class of B. So in this case, class C is the implicitly inheriting the properties and method of class A along with the class B. That's what is called multi-level inheritance. So this is the example of multi-level inheritance. Here we have base class faculty and another class which have HRA that extends the faculty, and after that we have another class science that extends the DA class. So there are the multi-level inheritance in that, and after that we create the object of science class we uh, and the object of and we call the total method salary object.salary object.hra object.da and object.bonus. After that we print the value of total salary plus object.total salary, that says 37,000. So this is the example of multi-level inheritance. Please note this example. Next one is multiple inheritance. In multiple inheritance, there exist multiple classes and single derived class. That is shown in the diagram. Here we have a multiple base class, but we have a single derived class. So the concept of multiple inheritance is not supported in Java, the concept of classes, but it can be supported through the concept of interface. So what is hybrid inheritance? Combination of any inheritance type is known as a hybrid inheritance. So as you see in the diagram, there is the combination of any inheritance that gives the birth to the hybrid inheritance. Why multiple inheritance is not supported in Java, or it is also known as diamond problem? Due to ambiguity problem, Java does not support multiple inheritance at class level. Here we have an example, class A void display system.out.println hello. Here we have class B void display system.out.println how are you. So here we have class C which extends the class A and class B at a time, and after that we create the object of class C and call the object.display. Now the compiler get confused which display method is going to be executed. Either it is of class A or either it is of class B. So this is called the diamond problem or multiple inheritance. So that's why multiple inheritance is not allowed in the Java language. So as we see in the above code, we call both class A and class B display method, then it confusing which class method is called as I say earlier. So due to this ambiguity problem in Java, do not use multiple inheritance at class level, but it support interfaces level. So this is very important question regarding to the interviews. So please note this question. So let's discuss interface in Java. The interface is a mechanism to achieve a fully abstraction in Java. There can be only abstract method in the interface. It is used to to achieve a fully abstraction and multiple inheritance in Java. Why we use inheritance? Now the question arises. It is used to achieve fully abstraction. By using interface, you can achieve multiple inheritance in Java. It can be used to achieve loose coupling. Please note this. Now let's discuss the properties of interface. It is implicitly abstract, so we no need to use the abstract keyword when declaration and interface. Next one is each method in an interface is also implicitly abstract. So the abstract keyword is not needed. Methods in an interface are implicitly public. All the data members of interface are implicitly public static final. Next one is how interface is similar to class. This is very important question. Whenever we compile any interface program, it generates .class file. That means the bytecode of the interface appears in a .class file. That's why interface is similar to class. Now let's discuss how interface is different from class. So these are the reasons why interface is different from class. You cannot instantiate an interface. It does not contain any constructor. All methods in an interface are abstract. Interface cannot contain instance field. Interface only contain public static final variable. Interface is cannot extended by a class. It is implemented by a class. Interface can extend multiple interfaces. It means interface support multiple inheritance. Behavior of compiler with interface program. So let's discuss this. In the above image that is seen, when we compile any interface program, by default compiler add public static final before any variable and public argument before any method, because interface is designed for fully universal requirements and to achieve fully abstraction. Please note this diagram. Next one is how we declare interface. The interface keyword is used to declare an interface. This is the example. Here we have the interface keyword and the interface name person, that is data type variable name equals to value, and return type method name list of parameters or no parameters. Let's discuss its explanation. In the above syntax, interface is a keyword. Interface name can be used as define name. The default signature of variable in public static final and for a method is public abstract. JVM will be added implicitly public static final before data members and public abstract before method. Here is the example. Public static final data type variable name equals to value for data members, and for methods public abstract return type method name and their parameters. So let's discuss how we implementing interface. A class uses the implements keyword to implement an interface. The implements keyword appears in the class declaration following the extend properties of the declaration. Here is the example of interface in Java. Here we have interface person with the method void run. After we have a class employee which implements person method, and after that we have the declaration of void run, that is system.out.println run first. So that's how interface is implemented. Please note this diagram or this program. Now the question arises, when we use abstract and when interface. It is very important question as the programming point of view. If we do not know about anything about implementation, just we have requirement specification, then we should go for interface. If we are talking about implementation but not completely or partially implemented, then we should go for abstract. Rules for implementing interface. These are the three rules. A class can implement more than one interface at a time. A class can extend only one class but implements many interfaces. An interface can extend another interface similar to the way that a class can extend another class. So let's discuss difference between abstract class and interface. So the abstract class and interface. Abstract class, it is a collection of abstract method and concrete method, where in interface it is a collection of abstract method only. An abstract class, their properties can be reused commonly in a specific application. Their properties commonly used in any application of Java environment. It does not support multiple inheritance. It supports multiple inheritance. Abstract class is preceded by abstract keyword. It is preceded by interface keyword, which may contain either variable or a constant, which should contain only constant. The default access specifier for abstract class method are default. The default access specifier for interface methods are public. These class properties can be reused in other class using extend keyword. These properties can be reused in any other class using implement keyword. Inside abstract class, we can take constructor. Inside interface, we cannot take any constructor. For the abstract class, there is no restriction like initialization of variable at the time of variable declaration. For the interface, it should be compulsory to initialize of variable after the time of variable declaration. There are no any restriction for abstract class variable. For the interface, variable cannot declare variable as private, protected, transist, and volatile. There are no any restrictions for abstract class method modifier. That means we can use any modifier. For the interface, method cannot declare method or strict FOP, protected, static, native, private, final, or synchronized. So this is the example of multiple inheritance using interface. Here we have interface developer, which have the method display. Here we have another interface, that is manager, which have method show, and we create a class that name is employee and implements two interfaces. These are developer and manager. Here we have a public void display method of class employee, which displays the hello good morning, and after that void show method of employee class, which displays the message how are you. Then we have a void main method. After that we create the object of employee class, and we implements the method object.display and object.show. After that we have the output hello good morning and then how are you. So please note this example of multiple inheritance using interface. Why interface have no constructor? There is very important question. Because constructors are used to eliminate the default value of user defined values. But in case of interface, all the data members are public, static, final. That means all are constant. So no need to eliminate these values. Other reason, because constructor is like a method and it is a concrete method, and interface does not have concrete method, it have only abstract method. That's why interface have no constructor. So let's discuss abstraction in Java. So abstraction is the concept of exposing only the required essential characteristics and behavior with respect to a context. Hiding of data is known as data abstraction. In object-oriented programming language, this is implemented automatically while writing the code in the form of class and object. So this is the real life example of abstraction in Java. Abstraction shows only important things to the user and hiding the internal detail. For example, when we ride a car, we only knows about how to drive the car, but we cannot know about how it's work. And also we do not know the internal functionality of the car. This this is the scenario when we using abstraction, but this is the scenario when we use without abstraction that's shown in the diagram. Please note this diagram. Next real life example of abstraction is ATM or ATM machine. All are performing operations on the ATM machine like cash withdrawal, money transfer, retrieve mini statements, etc. But we can't know internal detail about ATM. Always keep in note that data abstraction can be used to provide security for the data from the unauthorized method. In Java language, data abstraction can achieve using class. This is the example of abstraction. Here we have class customer. Here we have data members and member functions of the customer class, and we have void balance inquiry, and we have void fundamental transfer. So we have just the signature of the methods, but don't have any implementation. So this is the example of abstraction. So the question arises how to achieve abstraction in Java. There are two ways to achieve abstraction in Java. Abstract class 0 to 100% and interface achieve 100% abstraction. Difference between encapsulation and abstraction in Java. Abstraction deals with hiding the detail and showing the essential things to used whenever encapsulation bind your data and code together as a single unit. Encapsulation is not providing fully security because we can access private members of the class using a reflection APIs, but in case of abstraction, we can't access static abstract data members of the class in Java. You can say it takes all your methods, variables and bind them together in a single class. Abstraction is implemented in Java using interface and abstract class, while encapsulation is implemented using private and protected access modifiers. Encapsulation in Java. Encapsulation is the process of wrapping of data and method in a single unit is called encapsulation. Encapsulation is achieved in Java language by class concept or combining of state and behavior in a single container is known as encapsulation. In Java language, encapsulation can be achieved using class keyword. State represents declaration of variables or on attributes, and behavior represents operations in terms of mode. So this is the important point of encapsulation. Please take the note of this. I will come in few seconds. So I hope you will take the notes of encapsulation in Java. So let's discuss from the another slide. So this is the diagram of encapsulation that shows how encapsulation works. This is the class and is like a capsule like structure. Here we have method and variable. Both are bind together That's why it's known as encapsulation. So let's discuss the advantage of encapsulation. The main advantage of using of encapsulation is to secure the data from other methods. When we make a data private, then these data only used within the class, but these data not accessible outside the class. So this is the real life example of encapsulation. The common example of encapsulation is a capsule. In capsule, all medicines are encapsulated inside capsule. Here is the example that is shown in the diagram. So let's discuss the benefits of encapsulation. It provides abstraction between an object and its client, protects an object from unwanted access by clients. Example, a bank application forbids or resists a client to change an account balance. So this is the example of encapsulation in Java. Here we have the class employee, which have private string method has a name and public string method get name, and then return type is name, and after that we have a public void set name, that means string name. Here we use this dot name, that means we use the reference of this variable. After that we have class table, public static void main, the string argument. After we create the object of employee method and we set name as Harry, call the set name method as Harry, and then we print the name. After that, here Harry is the output. Please note this example. This is a very good example of encapsulation. So let's discuss polymorphism in Java. The process of representing one form in a multiple form is known as polymorphism. Polymorphism is derived from two Greek words, poly and morphism. The word poly means many and morphos means forms. So polymorphism means many forms. Polymorphism is not a programming concept, but it is one of the principle of OOPS. For many object-oriented programming language, polymorphism principle is common, but whose implementation are varying from one object-oriented programming language to another object-oriented programming language. So let's discuss the types of polymorphism. According to the concept, types of polymorphism in Java are, these are compile time and runtime polymorphism. In compile time polymorphism, we are talking about operator overloading, method overloading, and in runtime polymorphism, we are talking about method overriding. So there is a note that operator overloading is not allowed in Java, but method overloading and method overriding is allowed in Java. So let's discuss the real life example of polymorphism. In shopping malls, a man behave like a child behave like a customer. In bus, it behave like a passenger. In school, it behave like a student. At home, he behave like a son. So this is the real life example of the polymorphism. So friends, that's all for today's topic. If you are new to our YouTube channel, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon and share the video if you like that video. Till then, stay tuned with us. Thank you for watching.